housekeeping. Jimmy is asked to put it on the agenda. That's certainly going to be done. We've got 8 weeks, 9 weeks to the end of the fiscal year and the beginning of the next. And so we need to work a budget. So Jimmy, I'd ask you to work with Vic and Mr. DeBose to understand what it means when someone buys something when we haven't had an offer in terms of timing, okay? That not even presupposing the council would agree to it. We haven't had an offer. So I would just ask you to bring that into your thinking when you come to see us at the next meeting, okay?
Well, I will, Mr. Chairman. Also, if you remember, though, I also brought a member of South Carolina Water Utilities here, and they spoke to us as well, some while back. And this is something that I've been talking about for years. I mean,
well, my point is, the second one, which is tied to the first, is we got to do a budget, and we got to do one, in the next 6-7 weeks. And how fast can we move this?
And you are correct, but council can do what council wants to do.
And then secondly, that gets to the next point. We have no valuation of what we think we're worth.
And that would be part of the negotiations. If we're serious about this, that would have to be done.
And having done this kind of stuff in my other life outside these walls, that takes a while.
So, everything takes a while, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I'm just trying to help here.
Well, I understand, but I'm just saying.
So I'm asking you to put that in your calculations in terms of how that's presented, okay?
Sure, I certainly will. And as I said, I truly believe that if we want this to happen, we can make it happen. But there are certainly details you have to work out. There are details that have to work out with what we talked about this morning with the bonds.
Right.
Right. We left out here with the bonds thinking, okay, all our problems are solved with fire, funding, but it's not. It's not, because once again, it goes back to like Russell and I were talking to earlier. You may pay off the debt millage, but then try to transfer that to the general fund millage so you can pay for fire. But because of Act 388, we're limited on what we can.
Yeah, the logic is fairly compelling. And so what I'm saying is, in terms of having to do a county budget and then getting an offer and then getting an evaluation to make sure that we get value for money, that's more complex than the concept that I've heard today.
It is complex, but Mr. Chairman, I will say this too. I think, no pun intended, just my personal belief, I think that using the budget as an excuse not to do it is just an excuse because you don't want to do it. Yeah. And I'm not speaking to you personally, I'm just saying that's just my belief.
And very good. And I think I've laid out just some real cold hard business logic. Mr. Snodgrass.
Sure. Mr. Jones, do you know how, so the company that presented to us, they operate water systems in Hilton Head and that part of the state. Do you know how quickly they raised their rates once they acquired those systems? Did you talk to them about that?
We did, but I'll be honest with you, I can't remember, but it was talked about. But that's something that we would all, I'm trying to think back what they said. They would be competitive, and they would actually, in some places, they're probably lower than us, some places probably higher, but I don't see them skyrocketing their prices.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I asked the guy when he was here 2 months ago, and he quickly said they had to, and then he quickly went into some speech about some other things because he wanted to cover it up, that they had to quickly raise rates. And that's, I'm just be honest with you, I'm open-minded, so I'm going to look at this, but I'm just at face value. Some of my concerns that in the shadow of the failed VC Summer nuclear plant that Santee Cooper's has found themselves in as well with SCANA, a private utilities. I don't know. I guess I'm a little hesitant to make sure that we're not in a situation where we but we let go of a system and it goes into a private partnership. And the only thing between an increase on our citizens in rates is the Public Service Commission, and sometimes they don't have the best track record of having the best interest for the citizens. So that's, I'm going to look at it, but I'm just saying it out the gate. Those are the concerns that I have that I'm wanting to get the answers to as we look at this. As far as the millage, you are right. We can't raise the millage, but it's not dead. It's dead. It got second reading.
But we have to do it by a budget now, remember. I mean, you're talking about the millage isn't dead, but it still had to be handled. I mean, I was just told that this issue was budget driven.
I'm just saying, but the idea of switching the fire over to millage is not dead. It's in the Senate at second reading, so next year it'll come back around and it'll be at second reading next year. It's kind of how the cycle works. And we have a great delegation who's worked hard on it. I see Ms. Gwen out there. She's our liaison. I know she and her office have been working really hard on that for us, and I was thankful as how far it got. So we'll see where it gets next year as it moves forward. So that's not a dead end is what I'm saying. So then my other question is that I'm trying, when I make a decision on this, is, I don't want the short-sightedness of money now to cloud our judgment from what could be 5, 10, 15 years down the road. 15 years down the road, we have a sewer system that we don't have control over, and it's controlled by a private entity. And what is that a good fit for our citizens 15 years down the road? So those are some of the things that I'm looking at. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just being honest with you. I'm going to look at it with open mind, but those out the gate, those are the concerns. And you're right. We do control zoning. We do control growth, but here's what I see. If we would sell the system, but then we tell Mr. Conley, hey, we don't want any more growth. Well, we got a private company over in that part of the county who's saying, well, hold on. We bought this sewer system, and our mission, they say their mission is to give people water, and that's part of it. But at the end of the day, they're here to make money. So they're going to say, hold on, we can't make any money if your county is not permitting more developments, which, and from my logic, would say that existing users would probably begin to see a rate increase because they've got to make money. So those are just, again, great idea. I love the innovative, the way that you've looked for an innovative idea, and I'm going to look at it. Those are some of the questions in the next 2 weeks that I'm going to be looking for answers to.
And those questions, and I know the administrator is writing them down, and he'll work with the company and we'll get it. We'll also have an executive from the company come as well and talk with you and express because I don't think there were a whole lot of questions asked the last time he was here. So, but listen, the fact that we may or may not agree, I appreciate your dialogue, your discussion on this issue. That's where we start, and let's see if we can't get something going and answer your questions fully, and meet once again some of the executives from the utility company and go from there.
Okay. Mr. Brazel?
I was just going to touch on the fact that y'all were initially talking about regulation. And you touched on it eventually. The Public Service Commission, I think, Jimmy, that was who would regulate the rates and that sort of thing. So,
well, here's what I do know, guys. As I said earlier, we've got more needs than we've got money. And what I want to see, and I know that a lot of you up here feel the same way, what I don't want to see is a new fee generated when we already have folks, senior citizens, who are paying twice the amount in fees on their tax bills as they are taxes. So I appreciate your time, and I appreciate y'all looking at that, and we'll try to put something together and bring back before you at the next meeting.
Yeah, I hope this has been helpful to you, Jimmy, as you bring that together.
Well, it has been, and I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the fact that you had questions and you asked. As I said, no matter what we do, folks, no matter what we do with this situation, it's going to have its issues and have its problems. We just have to be willing to work through them or say this is how we're going to do it and move in another direction.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Are we ready to go to council briefings? I think so. Mr. Gardner, you lead off.
I just have one thing. I was doing some reading the other day, and I came across this quote that I thought was pretty appropriate. It said, "We've never lived in such evil times. Our leaders have never been so corrupt, and the social fabric has never been so decayed." You'd think you'd read that in the state paper the other day. It was written 5,800 years ago. Babylon, Mesopotamia. It was written on a Chaldean stone. But I think it just shows you that history does repeat itself, because I think we're in those times ourselves right now. But it was written 5,800 years ago, But it also shows you that 5,800 years we've survived, we've persevered. I don't see why we can't come together and work out our problems, because we have problems, believe me, lots of problems. And not just R&D problems, we've got lots of problems. But I think that 5,800 years ago, the same things are going on that were going on in our country now. But I think that we can overcome those. But I thought it was interesting when I read that. I couldn't believe that it was written in 3800 BC, 5,800 years ago, and so how appropriate it is today. Thank you.
Tom. Thank you, Tom. I think you were there, weren't you? Mr. Brazel, sir.
Well, a couple of things I'd like to touch on. I'd like to thank the gentlemen, it's been brought to my attention, Tom Gardner, Sammy Tucker, and Dennis Allridge, laying the groundwork for some of these projects that are coming to fruition through economic development. And Mr. Jones and whoever else may have worked on those projects, Mr. Snodgrass and Ben, I just want to say thanks, because I think the county is about to see some really good things from the work that's been done years ago, well before I was here. And I wanted to thank Mr. Jones for all the research and development that he put into his presentation tonight, and we want to be open-minded to his thoughts. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. Mr. Connell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to share a brief word tonight about a great member of Kershaw County who passed away. Some of you might know Brad Branham.
Yeah.
Brad lived in Elgin for many, many years. He lived in Camden before that. Brad went to Camden High School, and one of the things I loved about him most was he's a two-time state champion wrestler at Camden High School, actually one of the first in Kershaw County, and he was an inspiration for many youth coming up that competed and followed his example. He worked 46 years at Wildchem. I considered him an uncle, though he was a second cousin, but that's kind of par for the course in Kershaw County in many ways. He was a great leader, and to see the legacy of his life today at his funeral was such a blessing. So many people there that loved him, such a large and expansive family. It's impressive that he's raised doctors and other professionals, but the content of their character means so much more to he and Rita. He was the son of Alfred and Betty Branham that actually lived off Latchcott Road, not too far from you, Jimmy, and just an outstanding man. So I hope if you knew him, you'll take a moment to reach out to the family and share any positive experiences you had with him. He blessed everybody's life. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Mr. Connell, I agree with you 100%. Great man, good family, and thank you for those words. No further comment.
Mr. Snodgrass.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of council. Just a few things to wrap up. Just congrats again to Zyreek Bradford and all the team that was with him, and the good work that our Boys and Girls Club does here locally. Also want to make everyone aware that the DHEC COVID testing site, which is currently at our Parks and Rec Department, will be moving next week, May. It'll be moving out to East Camden. It'll be moving to the parking lot of my church, Camden First Church of Nazarene, and they'll be utilizing that parking lot. So just making sure everyone aware that's where that'll be the only testing site in the county. So just want to make everyone aware of that. 2 weeks ago, we organized a East Camden community pickup. Had members of neighborhoods out there from White Pines neighborhood, Valley Park, those who live in town, and other areas, and we picked up Dicey Creek, Hell Street, Old Stagecoach, Malvern Hill, and 59 bags of litter alone on Old Stagecoach. We did about 100+ bags total, and learned that whoever litters, they like playing the lottery and drinking Crown Royal liquor. So that's what I learned. And I guess they didn't. Man, I guess they, yeah, well. But I didn't see in the little purple bags. It was just the bottles. Yeah, no, I didn't. No, that wouldn't be a good look for me, I don't think. So want to say thank you, Director Cato, for bringing out some support. And the truck showed up shining, tires shining and everything. So I appreciate that. Appreciate the Sheriff's Department as well. offering us some support, and the 20-plus volunteers who came out to help us pick that up. And then also want to just just as we move forward with economic development, just tell everyone to stay tuned, and we'll be able to share a lot of those things that are coming our way, and just excited about all the things that are happening. So that concludes my remarks. Thanks, guys.
Mr. Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, council members. Two quick things. One is, and this might be a little bit of your thunder, Mr. Carpenter, but I'm going to take it because of my position with the family. But we not only lost this week or over the weekend another soul, but we actually lost a county employee, Mr. Howard Sumter. Many of you have seen him around here in the building up at the Government Center, and I know Mr. Carpenter probably expound on this a lot further, but keep his family in your prayers. He was a good, hard-working man, a good-spirited man, and unfortunately went in the hospital Friday, and he passed Saturday, and so just keep that family in prayer as you go out through your week. Mr. Chairman, there was a lot of thank yous that went around, and I was reluctant and I wasn't reluctant, but I did not say what I needed to say. I want to thank you for all that is going on in the economic development world as well. I don't know what the rest of them do, but I know 2, 3 o'clock at night, you're up because I'm talking to you. And I appreciate the wheels always turning, and you always trying to figure out how to make things work. So with thanks to everyone else that's got a part of economic development, I want to say a personal thanks to you. That concludes my report.
Very good. Thank you. We're going to beat COVID. We're beating it. We're crushing it. And if you saw Zarik today, that showed the spirit of this county. And there's so many other things that just say we're a great place to live, work, worship, raise our families. 1 year ago, this body of men voted on $1 million to keep our small businesses going. Now, some people think that's inappropriate, but those businesses, by and large, are open today. And I went around yesterday and today and Saturday and talked to a number of those people who got our grants, and it shows how this county council, this body of men, may we always not agree, but we may always are devoted to our population. And I just want to congratulate you 1 year ago. EDO, thank you very much. You're showing that we've still got it. We've got our mojo. We got it in stride. It's taken us 4.5 years to get to this point, and a lot of discussion, but we made it. Let me give you another example. Mr. Snodgrass has already touched about how volunteers have popped up all over the place. Mr. Brazel's about ready to lead one too. And then Jill Wolf and the crowd, along with Steve Zobel this weekend at Lugoff, are going to be leading along with the Optimist Club, right, Jimmy?
Meeting 514 Lash.
Yep.
Meeting at 514 Lashcott Road.
There you go. And I think it's Shoney's too. So this just shows what a great county we have. I'm just telling you. The next point is this weekend, and token of which, on the 1st of May, we've got the Relay for Life is back. Holy smokes, that's a giving Christian organization. I've mentioned the Optimist Club cleanup. We've got a Mayfest going on in Boykin with Wayne Belcher. And then, of course, we've got the Jam for the Soul, I think I got it right, at Veterans Park. And on the 3rd of May, the American Legion is going to erect a flagpole at the Veterans Park. Just stuff's going on. What a county. And COVID just didn't get in our way. I'm just so proud of you. Next point is a bit of housekeeping. Mary is going to have to start tracking the Kershaw County Health Services District roster, if you can start posting that. Whether the legislation, Katie, we're going to need your help here, the legislation passes in the House and the Senate or not, we're going to have to address the expired or to be renewed positions of the Health Services District. I talked to Mr. Ogburn today, and he assures me on his side, and everybody knows how good Darrell is in the State House, that he's going to move it down the road, Sammy. So I think we got some good luck on the Health Services District
Yes, sir.
statute, but there's, I think, only a 2-week window to get it done. So y'all cheer on our legislative delegation to get it done, and then we'll have the nominations back in here to you, and then we'll work out how we move forward on renewing and rejuvenating and supporting our great health services district. So with that, I think I'm about done, except for to say, get your shots. Get your shots, 38%. With that, Mr. Carpenter, over to you.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, a few items for you tonight. First, I wanted to introduce to you a new program that we're doing with our employees. We call it KC Works Well. As you know, when COVID came, and we spent a lot of time looking at how we operate as an organization and how we can be better serving our citizens and ourselves. And out of that extended period of time that we spent looking and thinking, one of the issues that came forward to us very clearly is that our ability to provide comprehensive services and outstanding customer services to our resident is significantly dependent on the well-being of our employees. So with that, we reached out to Live Well Kershaw for some guidance and direction on what we could start doing for an employee wellness program.
Good.
Catherine Johnson, their director, worked with a 10-member team of Kershaw County employees to begin identifying things we could do. We then reached out and began working with the South Carolina Hospital Association, and with their help identified 4 priority areas that we're going to be focusing on with our employees. As you're going to be seeing through the coming years, we're going to be working on wellness culture, physical activity, nutrition, mental and emotional health, and policies, all that would affect and benefit the employees as they try to go about doing their job. We're working these areas right now, and as these initiatives continue, I'll keep sharing with them. This goes along with our Enhanced U program and our KC Solutions program, all designed to include and involve our employees in how this county can operate better and be more significantly able to provide assets to our citizens. You're going to be seeing in the next coming weeks that the South Carolina Hospital Association will be recognizing Kershaw County for this effort and using us as an example across the state of how wellness can be incorporated into the daily work life and what you do. So I'm very proud of that, and I look forward to sharing that with you as it continues to develop. Also, the chairman just mentioned the flag raising ceremony on Wateree River Veterans Park. We'll be doing that on Monday, May the 3rd at 2 o'clock. Everyone is encouraged to be out there as the flagpole will be dedicated and the flag will be raised. And then we'll be having our ribbon cutting, finally, at the Elgin Community Park. We just got that finalized this afternoon.
Ben, can you be there?
So Friday, May the 14th, 2 o'clock p.m., the senator can be there, and we will be getting more information out to you. But that will be the date that we will be holding that event. And that's it. That's my report.
All right, Attorney?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And with that, I think I can entertain a motion to dismiss.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Tucker, Mr. Connell, thank you. Any discussion? I think we next meet as a body on the 11th of May, and with that, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor signify, and it's unanimous, and we are adjourned. Thank you. Very productive.